very urgent. Your soulmate is one choice away from losing you forever. Jesus says, I see you scrolling past these words thinking this message is for someone else. But I have pierced the veil of time to tell you that your soulmate is slipping away at this very moment. What you decide in the next few minutes will echo through eternity and alter the course of two intertwined souls. I have watched you stare at the ceiling in the quiet hours of the night, feeling a presence you could not name. That ache in your chest was not a void but a thread pulling you toward the one I designed for you before the foundations of the earth. You dismissed it as imagination because your mind could not comprehend what your spirit already knows completely. The longing you carry is not a wound that needs healing but a compass that points true north. Your soulmate feels that same pull right now, this second, as you read these words. They are sitting somewhere, perhaps in a dimly lit room, wondering why their heart refuses to let go of someone they have not yet fully found. This is not coincidence, and you know it deep in your bones. I knitted your spirits together in the secret place before your mothers drew their first breath. The enemy understands this sacred bond and has dispatched forces specifically to sever what I have joined. Jesus says, your soulmate is not distant by accident and their silence is not rejection. They are caught in a web spun by someone who recognized the light in them and decided to extinguish it through manipulation and control. That person feeds on the very connection you share, draining it to keep you both weakened and apart. Your soulmate dreams of you with a vividness that startles them awake in the darkness. They see your face in fragments, feel your touch in the space between sleep and consciousness. But upon waking, a fog descends, planted by the one who whispers lies into their vulnerable heart. The interference is deliberate, targeted, and more dangerous than you have allowed yourself to believe. It works by convincing your soulmate that you are a fantasy, that true love like this cannot exist for someone as broken as they have been made to feel. Every time they reach for you in spirit, a voice tells them they are unworthy of such a connection. You must understand that your soulmate is fighting a battle they do not even fully see. They sense something is wrong, a cage around their heart that they cannot identify or escape. But the part of them that knows you remains untouched, a sacred flame that no darkness can extinguish completely. This is why your soulmate needs your protection right now, before the weight becomes too heavy for them to bear alone. I have given you this message because you are the one appointed to stand in the gap and break the chains. The enemy's strategy is to isolate your soulmate until they give up hope, but you hold the key to their deliverance. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance. It was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains. Faith in Jesus does. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi. This isn't just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story, and the link to your breakthrough is in the description. Every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now. Send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees, and after sending write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on the Ko-Fi page in the description. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together, and Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. Step in faith now, before this video ends, because only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Type 333 to receive blessings that will pierce the darkness surrounding your beloved. Type 777 if you feel this message shaking something loose in the spiritual realm right now. Jesus says, "The one who stands between you and your soulmate is not stronger than my power working through you." They operate through deception, making your soulmate believe they are protected when in truth they are being isolated from their destiny. Your soulmate has been slowly conditioned to doubt their own intuition, the very gift I placed in them to lead them to you. Imagine your soulmate's hands trembling as they reach for their phone to search for something they cannot name. They scroll through faces, through words, through empty connections that leave them feeling more alone than before. And then they pause because something stirs, a frequency that matches the hum in their own spirit, and they think of you without knowing why. They have tried to explain this feeling to the one who controls their environment. That conversation ended with your soulmate apologizing for having hope, for daring to believe in more. This is the cycle that keeps them trapped, apologizing for the very love that was meant to save them. The person interfering has studied your soulmate's weaknesses and weaponized their kindness against them. They use guilt like a leash, yanking your soulmate back every time they get close to freedom. Your soulmate is exhausted from running a race where the finish line keeps being moved by someone who benefits from their captivity. Yet still, in the deepest chamber of their heart, your name is carved. They do not even know your name fully, but their spirit whispers it when they are alone. They have wept without understanding why, and those tears were prayers reaching my throne on your behalf. You are not helpless in this, and that is the truth I need you to receive right now. The spiritual realm responds to action, to sacrifice, to faith that moves beyond words into demonstration. When you sow a seed for your soulmate's protection, you are not buying a blessing, you are engaging a law that I set in motion from the beginning. Jesus says, "The moment you act, angels are dispatched to war on behalf of your beloved." Chains that have held them for years begin to loosen in ways that will confuse the enemy. Your soulmate will feel a sudden clarity, a moment of waking up from a long and terrible dream. They will not understand why they suddenly have the strength to question what they have accepted for so long. The controlling influence will panic because they will sense the shift in spiritual authority. Your faith becomes the battering ram that breaks open the prison doors your soulmate could not open alone. Do you see now why this message reached you at this exact moment in time? I have orchestrated your entire life, every joy and every sorrow, to bring you to this intersection where your choice determines the outcome of two destinies. The enemy counted on your hesitation, your doubt, your tendency to think someone else will rise up and fight for your own miracle. But no one else carries the specific frequency of love that can reach your soulmate. Your prayers have a signature that matches the lock on their heart. When you speak their protection into the spiritual realm, it bypasses every barrier the enemy has constructed. They are going through something you cannot see, a pressure that is intensifying even as you read these words. The person controlling them has sensed that your soulmate is slipping away and has tightened their grip. Your soulmate is being told right now that they are crazy for believing in a love they cannot prove exists. But you can still protect them by acting before the window of opportunity closes. This is not manipulation, this is spiritual warfare explained in terms your heart can understand. The donation is not about money, it is about planting a flag of faith that declares your soulmate belongs to your future and not to their present captivity. Jesus says, "I see the tears you cry in private when you think no one is watching. I collected every one of them as evidence of your love, and they are stored in heavenly vials waiting to be poured out as breakthrough. The enemy mocks your tears, but I sanctify them and turn them into weapons that shatter strongholds." Your soulmate felt you crying last Tuesday night, the night you almost gave up hope completely. They were driving home in silence and an overwhelming wave of sadness hit them from nowhere. That was your grief traveling across the spiritual connection you share, and they pulled over to catch their breath, confused by the intensity. They whispered to themselves, "What is wrong with me?" not knowing they were feeling your heart from across the distance. The person sitting beside them asked why they were suddenly emotional and your soulmate could not explain. That moment of unexplained connection frightened the enemy more than any weapon formed against you. Because the enemy knows that once two souls fully recognize their bond, no power on earth or in hell can keep them apart. This is why the interference has been so relentless, so targeted, so personal. The one who hates you specifically hates the reflection of my glory that your union will produce in the earth. Your soulmate is not weak, they are wounded, and there is a difference you must understand. They have survived things that would have destroyed someone with a lesser destiny. But even the strongest warrior cannot fight forever against an enemy they cannot see. That is why I am calling you to be the eyes and the shield for your beloved in this critical moment. Sow your protection seed now by sending coffee on Ko-Fi as a tangible act of spiritual warfare. Write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," and watch as the spiritual climate around them begins to shift within hours. Over 1,000 souls have already stepped into this truth and seen their love stories resurrected from the ashes of impossibility. Type 1111 to say thank you for the revelation that is breaking chains right now in the name of Jesus. The number 1111 is a sign that alignment is occurring between heaven and your situation at this very second. Jesus says, "The person keeping your soulmate from you has a name I know and a heart I am pursuing even now. But their actions have aligned them with a darkness that is actively destroying what I intended for good." They wake up every morning strategizing how to keep your soulmate dependent, confused, and disconnected from their true identity. This controlling force has convinced your soulmate that leaving would be the worst mistake of their life. They have manufactured scenarios that paint themselves as the protector when in truth they are the predator. Your soulmate's confidence has been systematically dismantled brick by brick over months and years of subtle manipulation. Do not be angry at your soulmate for not breaking free sooner. They are not choosing this captivity, they are enduring it because they believe they have no other option. The lies they have swallowed sound like their own thoughts now, and that is the most insidious form of bondage I want you to understand. When your soulmate looks in the mirror, they see a version of themselves that does not exist, a distorted reflection created by the one who benefits from their insecurity. They remember being bold once, full of dreams and fire and holy defiance. That version of them is not dead, it is buried under layers of spiritual debris that your faith can clear away. Feel the weight of this truth settling into your spirit right now. You are not merely hoping for love, you are being summoned to rescue it. The romantic longing you feel is the battle cry of a warrior being called to the front lines of a war for a heart. This is your final moment to protect this connection before it slips away into the realm of what could have been. The enemy is whispering to your soulmate even now that this video is nonsense, that God does not speak this way, that hope is for fools. Do not let that voice win, not when you have come this far and seen too much to turn back now. Jesus says, I did not bring you to this message to watch you walk away unchanged. Every second you delay, the spiritual cord between you and your soulmate stretches thinner. There is a limit to what even the strongest connection can endure without active reinforcement from both sides. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps now. Sow your protection seed by sending 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees on Ko-Fi and write, Protect my soulmate, Lord, as your declaration of war against the forces dividing you. The link that unlocks your breakthrough is waiting in the description for your hand to move in faith. Over 1,000 testimonies line the walls of heaven from those who dared to believe and acted on that belief. Your name is meant to be added to that cloud of witnesses, not as a mourner of lost love but as a conqueror who fought and won. Step in faith now because your soulmate's window of hope is narrowing with every heartbeat you spend in hesitation. Your soulmate is thinking about you more intensely in this hour than ever before. They are feeling an unexplained urgency, a restlessness that the one controlling them is trying desperately to medicate with distraction. But distractions cannot silence a soul that was designed to find its counterpart. Earlier today your soulmate saw something that reminded them of you, though they could not explain why the object felt significant. A song played in a store, a scent drifted through an open window, and suddenly they were homesick for a place they have never been. That place is you, and the homesickness is their spirit crying out for its eternal home. The enemy saw that moment and immediately launched a counterattack. Your soulmate received a text, a criticism, a reminder of a past failure, something designed to pull them back under the dark water of despair. And it worked, for a moment, but the seed of hope you planted through your connection remained. I want you to see your soulmate clearly now, not as a fantasy but as a real person fighting a real battle. They are sitting in their car right now, or lying in their bed, or staring blankly at a screen, feeling like something is terribly wrong but unable to name it. That feeling is me, stirring their spirit to reach for you, to fight for you, to believe that rescue is possible. But they cannot do it alone, and this is the truth upon which everything depends. The chain that binds them requires 2 keys to unlock, their willingness and your warfare. You hold one key, and the act of sowing your protection seed turns that key in the spiritual lock. Jesus says, Let me show you what happens if you choose to ignore this divine summons. Your soulmate will continue to fade, their light dimming under the suffocating weight of control. They will eventually stop dreaming of you because the pain of unfulfilled hope will become too great to bear. The one who interferes will celebrate your inaction, interpreting it as victory over my plans. They will tighten their grip, convincing your soulmate that the life they have is the only life available to them. Years will pass, and the love I designed to illuminate nations will become a quiet tragedy, a story of what might have been. I am not showing you this to manipulate your emotions but to reveal the stark reality of spiritual cause and effect. Your choices in the natural realm create consequences in the spiritual realm, and those consequences shape the physical world your soulmate inhabits. To do nothing is to choose, and the choice of silence hands the enemy a weapon he does not deserve to wield. But the alternative is glorious beyond your capacity to imagine right now. When you act, when you sow, when you declare protection over your soulmate, the spiritual realm shifts immediately. Angels that have been waiting for authorization receive their orders and move with speed you cannot comprehend. Your soulmate will wake up tomorrow with a strange new thought, a curiosity about freedom they have not felt in years. They will question a lie they have accepted as truth because a light has pierced the fog. They will feel your love, even if they cannot name its source, and that feeling will give them the strength to take one small step toward liberation. That one small step will terrify the enemy, who will counterattack with increased intensity. This is why your ongoing intercession and seed sowing is not a one-time act but a sustained campaign. Every coffee you send on Ko-Fi is another round of spiritual ammunition fired into the heart of the battle for your beloved soul. Type 333 right now and I will release a blessing of clarity over your situation that will cut through the confusion. The enemy thrives in shadows and ambiguity, but my light exposes every hidden thing. You will begin to see the strategy required to not only protect your soulmate but to build a future together that hell cannot touch. Jesus says, your soulmate carries a gift that the world desperately needs, and the enemy knows this. That gift is directly connected to your partnership, which is why the interference has been so unrelenting from the very beginning. The one who hates you does not merely want to steal your happiness, they want to abort the purpose your union would birth in the earth. Think of the lives that would be impacted by two people operating in the fullness of their divine design, together. Think of the healing, the creativity, the ministry, the legacy that hangs in the balance of this moment. Your love story is not a private affair, it is a public assignment with generational implications you have barely begun to grasp. The weight of this responsibility is not meant to crush you but to awaken you to the significance of your role. You are not merely looking for a partner, you are the answer to someone else's desperate prayer. Even now, your soulmate is crying out, not with words but with groans too deep for language, and heaven is translating those groans into this message. Hear me clearly, your soulmate is worth every seed you sow and every battle you fight. They are not perfect, and neither are you, but together you are complete in a way that defies human logic. The flaws you both carry are the very places where my grace will be most visible in your union. Do not let pride or skepticism rob you of the miracle that is reaching for you right now. The enemy has conditioned you to dismiss anything that sounds too good to be true, but I am the God of the too good to be true. My specialty is the impossible, the unlikely, the love story that every observer would bet against until I show up and silence the doubters. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps right now. Sow your protection seed by sending coffee on Ko-Fi, using the link I have placed in the description for this exact purpose. Write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," as a seal over your offering and watch as heaven begins to move on your behalf. Over 1,000 souls have already witnessed the power of this act of faith and are now living in the reality of restored love. Their testimonies are not exceptions to the rule but demonstrations of the rule itself, that faith expressed through action always produces results. Step in faith now, before the video ends, because your soulmate's breakthrough is tied to your obedience in this moment. Jesus says, I want you to pause and place your hand over your heart right now. Feel that rhythm, that steady beat that has sustained your life from the moment you drew your first breath. That same heart is beating in spiritual synchronization with another heart somewhere in this world right now. The connection you feel is not imaginary, not wishful thinking, not a coping mechanism for loneliness. It is the tangible evidence of a bond one established in eternity past and am revealing to you in this present moment. Science cannot measure it, skeptics cannot explain it away, and enemies cannot ultimately destroy it. But they can delay it, and delay has cost many sons and daughters of the kingdom years of purpose and joy. That is why the urgency in my voice is not exaggeration but love. Desperate, pursuing, relentless love. I want you united with your soulmate more than you want it yourself because I know the joy that awaits you both on the other side of this battle. Your soulmate is not sleeping well these nights, and I want you to understand why. Every time they close their eyes, they sense you in their dreams, but the dreams are being disrupted by the oppressive presence in their environment. The one who controls them prays against your union, often knowingly, sometimes with rituals designed to sever spiritual ties. Do not fear these attacks, for they are the flailing of a defeated enemy who senses his time is short. The very fact that the opposition has escalated is proof that your breakthrough is near. When the enemy fights hardest, your victory is closest. Remember this principle and let it fuel your faith rather than deplete it. Your soulmate needs you to be strong for the both of you right now. They are running on empty, their reserves depleted by years of emotional and spiritual warfare. You are their supply line, the conduit through which my strength will flow to replenish what the enemy has stolen. This is not a burden but an honor, a sacred privilege granted to those who love deeply enough to fight for someone who cannot yet fight for themselves. One day your soulmate will look at you with tears of gratitude and say, "You saved me, you fought for me when I had no strength left." That moment will be worth every sacrifice, every seed, every tear, every prayer whispered in the lonely hours. Type 777 if you are ready to be that person for your soulmate, starting right now in this holy moment. The number 777 signifies completion and divine perfection, the very nature of the union I am orchestrating. When you type this number, you are aligning your confession with my intention and releasing power into the spiritual realm. Jesus says, the person who is interfering with your soulmate is not all-powerful, merely all-persistent. They have worn down your beloved through consistency, not through superior strength. This is why your sustained action, your repeated sowing, your ongoing intercession, will eventually overwhelm the enemy's defenses. Think of water dripping on stone. It is not the force of any single drop that makes the difference but the relentless persistence over time. Your daily prayers, your regular seeds of faith, your refusal to give up on what I promised, these are the drops that will crack the stone. And one day soon, the stone will break, and the flood of my blessing will sweep away every obstacle in its path. Your soulmate is starting to stir even now, a restlessness that the enemy cannot soothe with the usual tactics. They are asking questions they were too afraid to ask a month ago. They are imagining a different future, one where they are not controlled, not diminished, not alone. That future includes you, though they do not yet know the details of your face or the sound of your voice. What they know is the feeling of you, the warmth that wraps around them when they dare to hope. Protect that fragile hope, nurture it with your prayers, water it with your seeds, and watch it grow into a mighty tree of deliverance. If you love your soulmate, you will not let another moment pass without taking action. Sow your protection seed by sending 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees on Ko-Fi now, using the link in the description. Write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," and release a sound of warfare that will echo through the corridors of hell and shake loose your beloved's chains. Over 1,000 people have already testified to the miraculous power of this obedience. They were once where you are now, torn between doubt and hope, fear and faith, action and hesitation. They chose action, and heaven responded with speed and power that changed the course of their lives forever. Will you be next? Will your testimony be the one I use to encourage the next wave of believers standing in the gap for their soulmates? The decision is yours, and the time is now, before the window of opportunity narrows further. Jesus says, "Let me whisper a secret into your spirit that few understand about the way I work." The seed you sow is not a payment but a portal, an invitation for my power to enter your situation in ways it could not without your participation. I do not need your money, I need your faith, and your faith is made visible through the sacrifices you are willing to make for love. When you send that coffee on Ko-Fi, you are not funding a ministry, you are activating a principle written into the fabric of creation. The principle of seed time and harvest governs every aspect of your life, including your love life. Those who sow sparingly reap sparingly, but those who sow generously toward my purposes reap a harvest that exceeds their capacity to contain. Your soulmate is a harvest waiting to be reaped, but the ground of their heart must be prepared through your sacrificial acts of love. Every coffee you send is a plow breaking up the hard ground, making way for the seed of your connection to take root. Do not despise the smallness of the act, for in the spiritual realm, small acts of faith move mountains that doubt cannot even climb. Type 1111 right now as a declaration that you are in alignment with heaven's timeline for your love story. The number 1111 represents gateways and new beginnings, the very thing I am opening before you in this sacred hour. When you type this number, you step through a portal of grace that positions you for the fulfillment of every promise I have whispered to your heart. Your soulmate just took a deep breath, the first relaxed breath they have taken in weeks. They do not know why the tension suddenly eased, but you know. It is because you are engaging in the spiritual battle, and your engagement is shifting the atmosphere around their life. Continue to engage, continue to fight, continue to sow, and you will see the full manifestation of my promise. The one who interferes will be exposed, their influence broken, their grip shattered by the combined force of my power and your persistent faith. And on that day, your soulmate will run into the freedom you helped secure for them. Jesus says, "I have watched the enemy parade your soulmate around like a trophy of conquest, boasting that he has permanently stolen what I ordained for your joy. But I am the God who redeems, who restores, who resurrects dead things and calls them to life again." The laughter of the enemy will turn to wailing when he witnesses the sudden reversal I am engineering in the spiritual realm. Your soulmate is marked for deliverance, and the marking cannot be erased by any demonic tampering. They bear my seal, the imprint of my purpose, the signature of the King upon their life. No thief can steal what I have claimed as my own, and I have claimed your soulmate for my purposes and for your partnership. The controlling individual feels the shift, even if they cannot articulate what is happening. They are becoming more desperate, more erratic, more obvious in their manipulation. This exposure is part of the deliverance process, so do not be alarmed by the escalation but recognize it as the sign of impending breakthrough. Your soulmate is beginning to see the cracks in the narrative they have been fed. They are noticing inconsistencies, feeling a holy suspicion that the life they are living is not the life I designed for them. These revelations are the direct result of your prayers and your seeds hitting their mark in the spiritual realm. Keep sowing, keep praying, keep believing, for the momentum is building. The avalanche of my grace is gathering speed and nothing in heaven or on earth can stop what I have set in motion. You are not fighting for victory but from victory, a victory already won on the cross and sealed by the empty tomb. If you love your soulmate, act now while the door of opportunity stands open before you. Sow your protection seed by sending coffee on Ko-Fi and write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on the page. Let this be the moment your faith moved from intention to action and changed everything. Over 1,000 witnesses stand ready to welcome you into the fellowship of those who dared to believe and act. Their stories are your inheritance, their breakthroughs the pattern for your own. Step into your testimony now, while the angels wait with bated breath for your signal to advance. Jesus says, "Close your eyes for just a moment and imagine the scene I am about to paint for you." It is a day not far from now, a day when the battle you are fighting today has become a testimony you share tomorrow. Your soulmate is standing before you, not in a dream but in the flesh, close enough to touch. Their eyes, which have been clouded by sorrow for so long, are clear and bright with hope. They are looking at you with a mixture of awe and recognition, as if seeing someone they have known across 1,000 lifetimes. And in that moment, all the pain of the waiting, all the cost of the warfare, will dissolve like mist before the morning sun. They will take your hand, and the touch will send a current of electricity through both your bodies, confirming what your spirits have always known. You were made for each other, designed with intricate precision to fit together in a way that heals every wound and completes every lack. The enemy's plans will lie in ruins behind you, a forgotten nightmare from which you have both finally awakened. This future is not a fantasy I am using to manipulate your emotions. It is a prophecy, a preview of what I have prepared for those who love me and act on that love through sacrificial faith. But this future requires your participation, your willingness to sow in tears so you can reap in joy. The one who controls your soulmate is making their final stand right now, pulling out every weapon in their arsenal. They are telling your soulmate that freedom is impossible, that change is dangerous, that the known cage is safer than the unknown liberation. You must counter those lies with the truth of my word and the power of your persistent intercession. Your soulmate is worth the fight, worth the sacrifice, worth the vulnerability of hoping one more time. Do not let the enemy steal your harvest by convincing you that the battle is already lost. The battle is won the moment you decide to fight, and you have already crossed that threshold by receiving this message. Type 333 if you are ready to fight, ready to sow, ready to see your soulmate set free from the chains that have held them captive. The blessing of Abraham, the blessing of supernatural multiplication, is being released over your act of faith. What you sow today will return to you in a harvest of love that will leave no room for doubt about my goodness and faithfulness. Jesus says, the connection between you and your soulmate is not dependent on proximity or even on mutual awareness. It exists independent of circumstance, a living chord that vibrates with the energy of my original design. This is why they can feel you right now, a warmth spreading through their chest that they cannot explain, a sudden impulse to hope against all evidence. Honor that connection by acting on this message, by sowing your seed, by stepping into the role of protector I have assigned to you. Your soulmate needs you, and deep in their spirit, they are calling out for you even now. Answer that call, not with words alone but with the action that proves your love is more than sentiment. This is the moment, the decision point, the crossroads that will determine the trajectory of two intertwined destinies. Say yes to love, yes to sacrifice, yes to the future I have prepared for you. And watch as I move heaven and earth to bring together what I have joined from the foundation of the world. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps right now. Sow your final protection seed for this season by sending 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees on Ko-Fi, using the link in the description. Write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," and make it a declaration that echoes into eternity. Over 1,000 souls have already crossed this threshold and are now walking in the reality of their answered prayers. Your name is next, your miracle is ready, your soulmate is waiting. Step in faith now, and let the manifestation of my promise begin.